And just like that, we're at our final game of the second day of Super Week. OXG going against C9. OXG has been on such a hot streak lately. They literally seem to not be able to do any wrong. Whereas C9, theirs has officially ended yesterday, and they are now fighting for a chance to stay in playoffs. If you're an SSG fan, you're voting for OXG.
You're definitely voting for OXG. I mean, OXG here, they just want to get a win to solidify their spot in top 2 to feel comfortable, get that bye, only needing one game going into playoffs. As for Cloud9, they are at the absolute bottom now with Dark Zero getting their win, pushing past them. So it's really up to Cloud9 here to bridge that gap once again and make sure that they are not falling behind with only one game left.
Yes, and C9 finds themselves in this position after they have made a roster change at the beginning of this stage, hoping for it to play out differently.
Yeah, and the roster change hasn't necessarily worked out, but C9 has a lot of redeeming qualities for them. I mean, with that momentum run of the 2 7-0s and the 7-2 against SSG, it's put them in a great position. I mean, they're the #1 attacking team currently within the league, and that goes without saying that obviously that doesn't just happen with a roster change, it happens with the team slowly improving. And we always commend them on their preparation and playing well as a team at the start of games, but they've been able to carry that through all the way through with the help of their IGL, and the whole team has really been on board with it, despite their roster change not necessarily being the way that they wanted it to go. Obviously, as for the team though, their last loss that really broke it down may have stumped them from being able to make playoffs.
Yeah, but when we're looking at C9 as like a team as a whole, there are obviously, just like every team, a couple of 3, I guess, pillars, fundamentals that we're looking at that really segregate what we can be expecting from them.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think it separates into the good, the bad, and the scary. Obviously, goes without saying, the good. Giddy, best Pro League stage of his career. He's been unstoppable. He's pretty high up in the NAL players statistically. And then Dream, we talked about them being the #1 attacking team. Obviously, when I was very questionable when Dream said that he was going to be the IGL of the team, of the roster. That being said, he's guided his team to somewhat of success, and obviously being the IGL is very difficult. So his stats are pretty good to also be leading his team in categories. As for the bad, now that's the pickup, the guy that they got, and it's a very unfortunate situation. Hat is within the bottom 4 players of the NAL currently. It was a very bad pickup, and essentially C9 actually took Hat, who was going to join Envy. So they may have saved Envy from being also at the bottom by saving Hat. So, I mean, that worked out for Envy, did not work out for Cloud9, and now it's put them into a scary position, which is the fact that they could not make top 6. Obviously, they're currently in 7th place. DZ's lopped over them. Everybody has jumped over them. They need to get their wins. But if you look at the 2 teams that they're playing, obviously OXG today, they're playing for top 2. Not going to be an easy game whatsoever. And Wildcard has had their ups and downs, but Cloud9 needs to be able to at least get their 2 wins because of how the day went to obviously make it into top 6. So they got to put their best foot forward and hopefully get another momentum upset against OXG to put them in a better position for playoffs.
Yeah, you say momentum upset, but if there's any team that has had crazy momentum in the last couple of play days, Lax, it is OXG.
Oh, it's definitely been oxygen, especially on their attacking half. And I mean, all these players across the board are really finding and believing into that fundamentals that Forrest is bringing by swapping off those shields, playing more of his old role that we used to play in the day. And realistically, it's Forrest world. We're just living in it. And I got to say, I'm happy to be highlighting Forrest in such a positive sense, because watching the plays that he's making now just reminds me back when he was on Astralis or back when he was on SSG, that he played this support role as a more aggressive support play. He had a very unorthodox play style back in the day, but it worked because no other support player was going to do what Forrest did, and Forrest always gets the job done. And from what we've seen with this change, it's only paying off in terms of oxygen results. I mean, dropping into Vault with the diffuser, no trade potential, you're setting yourself up for failure. But if there's one player that's going to get it done, it's going to be Forrest, and he does it flawlessly here. And then in the last round, what I really love about this, he brings the shield out, plays it perfectly, gets all of blue control, and then he's waiting to get Gomez to set up with the Candelas for the players inside Red Hall to be able to go for this plant. And again, this is what we're seeing with Forrest develop, going back to his roots, playing this style of Siege that is really paying off because they set up here beautifully. You have the Candelas going into red, blinding everyone in gold, blinding everyone in sight, not being able to let that Tachanka get the Shamika launcher off to to be able to deny this defuse, and then to deny the plant, and they just play the default post plant beautifully. And this is such a well-orchestrated and executing side of Oxygen that we haven't seen in the early stages of this team be coming together. We've been seeing it develop over time and time, and now they have really hit their max potential, I think, in terms of what they're going to look like, and they're just going to improve from there. So when I say max potential, I'm saying in terms that this is only going to be an improvement from here on out. And again, a lot of that really does come off of Forest.
Yeah, I mean, also when we're looking at their stats specifically when it comes to their opening kills, that's something that we're comparing against the rest of the league. Like, OXG is up there.
OXG's definitely up there, and then we said this was the biggest thing that I critiqued them for so long was the beginning of the game, the opening kills, the not being able to facilitate an entire round. Because Forest has taken that step back, taken off those shields, it's only propelled in terms of their opening kills and their success on their attacks. We've talked about Gomez. We've talked about Adam being those spearheads. Adam is what? I believe #1 rated in the league currently right now. A lot of the OXG players are up there. But the funny thing is, when we look at this opening kill conversion and the opening kill percentage, the reality is it's not just Adam and Gomez. The two main lead heads for their opening kills actually come from Grixer and Forest, funny enough. So again, the big ideology change, the big IGL shift in how they're playing, this is why we're seeing Oxygen accelerate at the level that we are, is because they are all on the same page here. They all have the right plan, and they're executing it time and time again. And again, I have to give a lot of that credit to Forest, where back in the day, I was giving him a lot of flack for his plays.
They got the right plan, they got the right execution, they got the right vibes, but do they have the right map pick? That is the question that we're going to answer very shortly as well. Because Foxay, when we're looking at the map picks, when we're looking at the veto specifically, the fact that we're going to labs from OXG's defending side starting as well, that's pretty good.
I mean, that's a great position for OXG to be in because we saw how strong they were in their last play day on it, especially with their entries, with taking Rafters control, with getting those opening picks. So obviously, I like the map pick for OXG very much. I think they're very adaptable when it comes to their attacks, especially as of recently. That being said, it's a decent map for Cloud9. I know they like to play it. I know we've seen them progress on it, specifically Giddy. You know, they have played it a lot throughout Stage 1 and Stage 2, and I know it is a comfortable map, but in my opinion, I don't feel like it suits the Cloud9 playstyle because as of late, Cloud9 doesn't really have enough bodies to go for those gunfights as opposed to OXG.
I don't know. I'd actually argue with that because when you look at their game against Dark Zero, where Cloud9 would lose that 8-6, their attacks is what were poor. And that's what we've seen them grow, now being the #1 attacking rating team in the NAL. That begs me then the question, with them starting on attack here, they know where they went wrong, in their match versus C9. They obviously just watched this game where they played against Shopify on. So they have everything and the tools at their disposal to really jump on this Oxygen starting on the attacking side. So I would honestly argue that I feel more comfortable that they are on this attacking half now than maybe what they were at the beginning of the stage.
Does that make you want to change your prediction, though?
No, absolutely not.
That's
I mean, Oxygen just has...
Yeah, there's one thing that Cloud9 doesn't have, and that's shooters. OXG just has the better players, in my opinion, and Cloud9 going into it playing 4v5 this whole stage with Hat on the team, I unfortunately just think it's going to go to OXG again.
It's low-key giving Hat hater.
Well, if you get picked up to make a team better and obviously you're the worst rated player on the team, I don't think that's hater. I'm just pointing out the obvious.
No, I don't think it's a fair point. I mean, we've hammered that home.
I questioned it. I even messaged Dream. I was like, you guys are picking up Hat? Why would you do that? And obviously I was waiting to be proven wrong, and I was not.
Maybe this is the game where he could potentially prove you wrong, but whether or not that it actually is realistic, we're ready to find out as we're heading into our final game of today with our casters, Extroika and Jesse.
I wonder if Fox isn't a fan of Hat because he can't find hats to tame all of that hair he's got on his head. Maybe that is where the hat stand is coming from.
You know, that makes a lot of sense, Ollie. That might be the
Could be
most...
onto something.
that might be one of the things that we need to look into a little bit more. In any case, well, I have one last opportunity for Hat to bounce back and lock in top 2 here, or at least deny OXG from getting top 2. Hat, a former player of Oxygen, if I am correct, of course, has had some of that time back on OXG, as has Dream as well. So there's a lot of familiarity between these teams, and it's going to be a really tight battle to see who ends up coming out on top. Important game for both of these squads as well. OXG hoping to secure a top 2 spot. They need just 1 point to guarantee that today. Otherwise, they're actually in a bit of a shaky situation tomorrow because they're competing with Shopify Rebellion for that second top spot. Sorry, they're competing with Space Station for that second top spot. SSG will play M80 tomorrow, but SSG on a bit of a hot streak. So Oxygen do need to get some points at some point. They want to hold on to the top 2. And then Cloud9, of course, battling for the playoffs, battling for the North American Finals as well, which has an SI spot on the line. So plenty to play for if you're Cloud9. Kind of shocking to see them down where they are in the standings, just given how good I feel like they've been this stage. But a rough start didn't get them many points, and then that last game yesterday as well, getting 7-3'd by M80 was not what they were hoping for. So today could be a big bounce back, or it could be the continuation of a slide.
I think Cloud9 they had a tough start to the stage, and if you look at the games that they played, you know, straight out of the gate into a DZ game, then they go into an Envy game, which unfortunately for them that they lost. But this was back at the start of the stage where Envy came out of the gates absolutely screaming. Then we see him go up against SR the next week. So again, a really tough game for them. They win very handsomely against Cruelty. They win very handsomely against LFO. Then they beat Space Station. So you're looking at this like string of games and you're thinking like, you look back at the points, you're like, how are they on 10 points? But they've had some very tough games in the early portion of the stage, and the games really don't get any easier for them here, but they have taken advantage of those air quotes easier games by getting very good scorelines. So they've done what's asked of them. They've just got to perform here against OXG, which for me, you know, you look at the standings and you see OXG in 2nd and Cloud9 in 7th. I pick these two teams as relative equals inside of Siege, but obviously with new changes and the way that Cloud9 have come out inside of Stage 2, they've just felt a little bit behind the pace. And I mean, is it ever an NAL desk when Lax and Fox don't both back OXG in the prediction? I mean, come on.
Well, those predictions have been paying off this stage. I mean, you've said it. Oxygen have had a really successful stage so far. Very close to being 2nd place in the league. We'll see if that does hold true after today. Very standard bans coming through. Bandit and Kaid usually going to be seen here on Nighthaven Labs. Would be very rare to see anything else. Then the double shield ban coming out from Oxygen, trying to target some of those Cloud9 shield takes that we know they like to run. Dream in particular has been playing a lot of shield so far this stage, so just take that off the board, leave him with the Blackbeard, which he's going to immediately select on. We'll see if that does stick true. Oxygen hoping to be able to lock this one down. Once again, they're going up against Cloud9, who have been the best attacking team since the stage began. 62% attacking win rate. We don't see teams really hit stats like that very often. You could make the argument they did kind of farm Cruelty and Standby to get that stat up as high as it is, but it's late in the stage. Everybody has had their opportunity to win those games, and so I do think you got to credit Cloud9 for getting them done as dominantly as they have. Top floor defense looking very standard, with the one exception maybe of this clash. Forest was hiding it throughout the prep phase, so it will not be known by Cloud9.
Clash can be a nightmare as well, especially on labs on this top floor. Especially an accomplished shield player like Forest is going to be well aware of how to take advantage of that. Now with both of the hard breach denial banned, and actually no hard breaches banned, it's going to be fairly straightforward to get things open. That isn't going to be where Cloud9 struggle. It is likely going to be with that clash. So it's almost good if you're known to be a bit of a shield team, because you kind of get an easier time of things on labs getting everything open. Whereas already tonight we've seen how devastating hard breach bans can be in the SR SSG game. Two very accomplished teams still struggle with the hard breach ban because it does make things a lot more difficult. So it's almost better to be known as a shield team, because if the shield's, you know, more of a risk, then maybe you attract that as a ban instead. And Cloud9 not going to waste any time, and certainly Dream isn't wasting any. Immediately taking control of Connector here. Silent can now use some of this utility to open up the wall into Connector, and already great map control here from Cloud9.
Yeah, without a mirror being brought, it's really hard to contest into Connector, and I guess OXG just deciding it's not going to be worth it this round. They don't have control of Electrical, but a big air jab. Adam kills Dream anyways, so it doesn't pay off, but I think a really cool idea there to clear Clash.
I think Dream just felt like he'd won the lottery then. The air jab goes off and he sees Clash on the back and he's like, this is my moment. I could be him. No, Atom was there. Gomez for the next. Hat eventually finding something back here. But that's only the Malusi. You're expected to lose a few bodies here, but it looks like this Aqua push has been somewhat successful, especially with Gomez going down so low on Catwalk right now. None of this removes Clash from the equation, though. And Forest is going to be making his presence known, not only with the shield, but with the secondary. Leveling it out at 2 versus 2 with 50.
Banshee gives away a little bit of positioning. Forrest still here. Doesn't have the shield out. He's actually got the SMG. Shield's on the back, so gonna play this a little bit more aggressive than you might expect, and it doesn't pay off. Giddy's able to get that kill, and now it's a 1v2 for Adam. And it does get closed out. Very nicely done coming through there by Cloud9. They win the round, starting things off strong, keeping that high attacking win rate alive. A little bit questioning for Forrest in that initial swing. You have to imagine with a Clash, you're in the advantage state with that shield, but playing it a little bit more aggressive does not go his way, and patience pays off for Cloud9.
I appear to have dropped internet during that last bit, so I do apologize for that. It was a moment of, I just now no longer know what's going on. But Cloud9 coming away with round number 1 there. You see, it hits the 2 a.m. mark in the UK, and all of the ISPs are just like, oh, it's okay, no one's online right now. We're just going to reboot everything. But I'm online. Hello.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
But, unfortunately, I'm probably in the minority. So, yeah, I do have to suffer with that. But I think we're connected onto the old hotspot now, so it should be good. So I do apologize about that. But Cloud9, they're successful with that first round. A big round to get as well, because Night Labs, you know, especially in the current meta, and especially with the Clash available, OXG kind of getting a little bit punished there. I thought as soon as they got that opening pick onto Dream that things were looking really good, but there was a really successful backstab in over towards Aqua, and it's a crucial element of attacking this map, and that site in general is you cannot be one-dimensional. You have to have multiple prongs of attack. And Cloud9 did a great job of opening up the IT breach nice and early, a really good job of taking control of connector and dipping into electrical. And then with that success coming on the Aqua side, is it much of a surprise that they're credited with round number 1? And they've done a fantastic job, and it has stunned OXG into sticking with their rotation. Downstairs we go to the basement.
And we've got Yaga on the Rook, the first Rook being picked in the second stage of the NAL. Of course, was buffed by getting that Reaper secondary weapon, so we'll have a bit more of a chance here to get some long-range gunfights. A lot of chaos happening on the site inside of storage. You see the Candelas come through, and Dream opens things up. Hat top floor as well is finding lots of good value. This OXG hold of the top floor has been picked to pieces, and now Forrest on the Clash is all alone. Nothing he can do. Shirley being close in on by all sides. No teammates, no chance. Kobe kills Forrest, and I'm sorry, Ollie, the round is over.
A flawless round comes out of nowhere for Cloud9. We were just invested in watching Forrest getting bullied upstairs. But yet there was so much going on in and around the site. Forrest attempting quite a flashy 360 there, but I mean, there's just no way that you live in that. It was very well dealt with by Cloud9, and it looks like they have been practicing and are fully aware and waiting for this clash to be played. So much so, it begs the question, are they even going to ban it when they get the opportunity a little bit later on? Because with the way that they've been dealing with these rounds so far, there's nothing that's been standing in their way. A really quick execute onto site, Candelas, the smoke canisters being forced out early. Cloud9 are bringing some serious heat here tonight.
They absolutely are, and you got to start looking at the Oxygen guys and thinking, you know what, who is going to step up and start to be that hero? Adam is currently the best defensive player in the league in North America. He's 1-2 right now. He has a defensive KDR of 2.05. That means he's averaging more than double kills than deaths on defense. And so it's been a little surprising not to see him super active in the first 2 rounds. That last round, I mean, it flew by. Hard to get anything done in a round like that, but as they go back to the top floor, back to the strongest site on this map, I'm hoping we can see a little bit more out of Adam. He's playing over towards Aqua this time around, so we'll see where he actually ends up. Might draw things back over towards server once he's done his site setup. But yeah, a player that I've got my eye on because I think he's been absolutely amazing all stage long and hasn't shown up just yet today.
Early days, but there is time. Typically, you can tell if someone's going to have a good game. Kobe-Lax, that's his first kill. That'd be the start of a Kobe-Lax round. We will have to see Forrest just caught wandering around really on that top floor, and Kobe Black's taking so much pressure nice and early. Really way ahead of the shields, and the hard breach is just really sneaking in and grabbing himself a freebie, getting himself out of there as quickly as he came. Good pressure again on this electrical and connector side of things. It's clearly a focus right now from Cloud9. A pocket reinforcement has been used, but as we know, that isn't going to stop anything really from happening. The breach will still be opened, and I doubt that Dream will be baited in as early this time if he sees some air jabs going off, because he knows the team play could be there, but there might not be much team to play it as Kobe Lax picks his second up. He's all over the gaff.
Yeah, nice little entry there from Kobe coming in on the Nook. Now 2-man advantage. Adam not going to be showing up in this round like I had hoped so. So Gomez, Grixer, and Yaga, the last left alive to try to hold things down for Oxygen. Cloud9 have once again got quite a bit of control. No Mira being brought once again, and no Clash this time either. So that connector ends up falling relatively quickly. A lot of pressure over towards Aqua too. It seems like that's going to be where the brunt of this push comes. They will have control of Garage. They'll have control of these Aqua stairs. They won't have Giddy. He does end up going down to Gomez, who's just playing top rafters. Might make getting this second dimension of the push a little bit more difficult. If you don't have Raptors, this could be a tough execute.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Hat, and Dream just gets a bit too giddy there. Gives himself away to Grixer. Gomez is there to capitalize as well. That's the diffuser. That should be the round. It's down to the two hard breaches to make something happen now. Hat has successfully got himself into IT, but what can he really do about it from here? Silent. He's going to find one onto Yaga. I believe Yaga was just prone in behind the desk, but it's going to be 4 for Gomez, as he barely needs to move his feet there to pick up 4 kills, as everything really culminates in and around the Aqua side.
A really nice round coming through from Gomez, being able to lock down all those kills. You said briefly in that round, there was a lot of pressure on Hat, and I absolutely have to agree with that. His job was to get in control of Raptors, try to make that second dimension work for his teammates. He did end up getting a kill somewhere in that round. He ended up fragging out onto Yaga, but in the end, it wasn't going to be enough. Cloud9 didn't quite have the numbers, and it will be the first defensive victory for OXG. We were wondering about that Clash ban. It's going to end up being the Azami instead. We know how powerful that can be up top inside of Raptors. It's the op that Gomez was just playing for the 4K. I do want to correct myself on the Clash. I did say round 1 that it was being that it wasn't being used on the late round, as it was just being placed on the back, but it did get destroyed. So I don't think the Clash play has been as bad for OXG as it may have appeared in those first 2 rounds, but still hasn't been as big of an issue for Cloud9. So I respect the idea to not ban it out. You also can be quite sure that this bottom floor is going to be one of the bomb sites being brought out, and Clash is less common on this site. I know we have seen it played kind of top vending stairs before, but generally Clash belongs on the top floor on this map, and we likely won't go back there until the final round.
I think it's a good ban from Cloud9. I don't think that they've been struggling too much with dealing with that Clash. It hasn't really had the desired impact for OXG. And the Azami is just such a headache. Not on just the top floor, but pretty much every site. Just make areas that are otherwise indefensible very defensible. Forest is going to be playing the Alibi this time, so looking to stretch his legs a little bit, provide a little bit of presence up and around on that mid floor. We've got Atom. He's hiding out inside of storage as well, going to be playing the Warden for that. So not in a bad position really to deal with any stuns and smokes that come in, but still playing a little bit far forward. If you look at the lineup that C9 have got, they'd originally hovered a RAM and all sorts of things that really telegraphed, you know, we're going to go for a very extensive roam clear, get the vertical control. They've since switched it up a little bit, and we've actually got the Roarer. We do have Hard Breach, but we've also got the Glass. So this looks like it could be a little bit more direct, with the addition of Kobe Likes just lurking to see if he can find something up and above. But with Grixer on that heartbeat scanner, he should be able to find a couple of things out. He will be found out there on the drone. Maybe the call goes through that it's going to be a little bit more site-focused.
A little bit of work being done on the top floor. Again, it's going to be critical that you can stop the plant from being denied vertically. If you can get control of storage, that's going to be an absolute game changer. Already damage being done to Yaga. Gets back to site alive, though. Thankfully, partly in the help of Grixer here with this cardiac sensor. That leaves now 3 players on the defense down inside the basement. Grixer, Force, and Yaga all retreat. This Logic Bomb will be attempting to clear out the last 2, Adam and Gomez. Playing around that mid floor. Not super quick to clear through it, but Kobilax will be lurking late into this round.
I think Kobilax has got everyone exactly where he wants them right now. He's in such a good position to provide this backstab, but there's a lot of pressure on the rest of the team to be able to get the job done in what could be a 4 versus 5. Gomez, star of the show in the previous round, still going to be hanging around inside a lounge at the moment. Dokubi call goes through. That should be a bit of information for Kobilax to start that sneak down and to really open up this round. Looks like Cloud9 are really waiting for a trigger at the moment. And at the minute, OXG aren't giving that opportunity away. A couple of shots come in, but Kobilax strikes at the perfect moment. Atom will be there for not 1, but 2, as Gitty and Dream both fall. Silent does still have the diffuser, but he's the next on the hit list, as Grixer takes the shotgun to his face there. The cardiac scanner clearly providing a bit of information. And whilst Kobilax's lurk might have been fairly successful to open the round up, he's going to have to do a lot more to close it out entirely. Atom eventually finished off here on this top floor. 20 seconds, diffuser can be recovered, and Kobilax can confirm a down onto Grixer from earlier. Still chance to try and use these Roradors to get this plant off, as Hat has a wealth of utility at his disposal right now. And the remaining players, well, they're no good through soft walls. You're going to need a little bit more. There's a default camera, and the plant is stopped just in the nick of time, as Hat has 2 kills to find in as many seconds. We'll get 1, but not the last.
Nice little defense coming out. Nox should tie up the game. You saw that late round play from Yaga just inside a cargo, able to stop that plant as it's going down. Absolutely critical for winning that round. Had some cool ideas with the Aurora, closing off those doorways so you couldn't get a clean line of sight to deny it, but just through the soft wall, that's all that Yaga needed. Knew where to shoot to stop that plant, and eventually did just that. Finally got the round I was looking for out of Adam, too. Again, it's been quiet through the first quarter, but that was really his round to step up and shine. It looked like it was going to be a really successful clear of that top floor. I liked the pinch coming in from Kobe. There was a bit of distraction over towards bottom garage, and then just as that was happening, Kobe made his move in through lobby, in through lounge, I should say. It was a really well-coordinated kind of clear, but it took them a long time to set it up. And they didn't quite count on Adam getting that quick little 2-piece inside of storage. Eventually traded, but by that point, I think the time was too poor. The numbers were too poor. It's good to trade it back out to the 2v2. I think it was a big round from Kobe again, but just not quite enough in the end. It was a bit of an interesting 1v1 on site, too. You mentioned it with the shotgun, Grixer versus Silent. Every other player on Cloud9 was trying to help out with that roam game, was trying to do something. Maybe with the exception of Giddy, who I believe died to a vert angle from Adam. But Silent ends up in a 1v1 spot on the glass, which doesn't really favor him. So tough for him to drop the defuse kit in a spot like that. But when your own game is not able to get the job done, it can be really tough sometimes to make that push happen too.
I really like the way that Cloud9 approached that attack. I think if they're able to tidy up a couple of the timings in the early portion of the round and give them a little bit more, because even if they just had the same man count, 2 versus 2, but a bit more time in the later round, they'd have been golden getting that plant down. It was a super close round. It came down to OXG having to play smart, keep themselves alive, and really use the clock to their advantage. Tied game at 2-2. A little bit streaky with Cloud9 picking 2 and then OXG responding with 2 of their own. That was a tech test, just for clarification. It wasn't a timeout from either of these 2 teams. They both still have those at this moment in time. They're going to be going into round number 5. Cloud9, not exactly searching for answers yet, but they need to find some sort of winning formula. Something that I love at the moment, Jesse, is that Hat is 6-1. Really putting sending a message out there to our desk. Yes, he can perform.
Fox is crying and shaking at the moment.
Hey, it's round 5. I'm sure there's time.
That there is. It's not gonna matter how many kills he gets if OXG continue to streak forward with these round wins. I always say the only stat that actually matters is the one at the very top of the screen, and right now it reads 2-2. Starting to open up on the top floor, we see Giddy doing good work on this thermite. Shouldn't be any problem. Again, with the bans, we expect hard breaching to be relatively simple, and it has been, I think, through this game. On the top floor, you've got every single member of Oxygen, with the lone exception of Grixer, who is anchoring down below, and will have to move his position as that boogie drone from the Ram will force him to move. Was playing just underneath it. The real question for me is going to be who gets this opening pick. We've not seen a lot of conversions so far through this game, but even still, getting that early advantage and then using it to tumble into even more on the top floor could be big for whichever team strikes first.
Ooh, Gitty on a really horrible angle there, just trying to tap fire his way through IT breach. Gomez, it's been a menace on the DMR. It's just being forced back to the top of Aqua right now. I want to see Dream have a little bit more success on this Blackbeard as well, because he's been a little bit reckless and carefree while playing this shield. It provides the smallest amount of protection out of the shields that are available in the game, not of course in this round. Ooh, an attempt there at an opener for Silent, but Forest quick to react on Ella. Gitty taking a bit of damage as well now and trying to dish it back on the Vert. That's going to be an opening pick that does go untraded for the time being. And Cloud9, where we've seen some attacks that have looked very well put together, it kind of feels like they're stalling out just a touch here. We're still getting players rotating into relevant positions, and that roam was very successful. Dream will just hop in and try and get that plant down. The FNAT's surely going to give the game away. Atom knows what's going on right now, but he might be sent to the cameras instead. An attempt at some vertical play, and Dream down in the process. Grixer, the unknown factor, as Cloud9 tried to pull a fast one and now have a lot of recovering to do. Hat inside a storage. He's taken out by Gomez. It's another multi, and it's Forest with 2 of his own to close it.
A ridiculous round, all things considered. OXG nearly got planted on, and that should have turned the entire round on its head. Huge credit to Grixer. When Dream is jumping in that window, Grixer is in lounge. He is in no position to deny that from down below. Just a moment before he jumps in, Grixer is in storage. So the second that Dreadmine triggers, Grixer hightails that lounge, has to run down the vending stairs, makes it there just in time to stop that plant from happening. Once you stop that plant, again, he denies it with less than a second left to go. His teammates are able to get some critical kills elsewhere on the map as well. We saw Kobe going down, who was just inside of the rafters, was walking down the garage stairs. We saw Dream, of course, dying on the plant, and then Hat and Giddy in the 2v3. Nothing that they can do to recover a round like that. Really well played by Grixer. Not a guy who's going to necessarily rack up the kills, and certainly hasn't been today, but the kills that he does get, the impact that he has on every round is absolutely phenomenal, and I think he ends up being one of the most underrated pieces of this OXG puzzle.
Extremely strong. I think, for me, that whole round hinges on the FNAT. If that FNAT doesn't exist, if it's deleted, then Atom doesn't know that Dream's hopped in, and Dream maybe gets away with that for free, with the amount of other things that are going on at that moment in time. But just that small piece of utility, it gave OXG the surety as to what was going on, and then allowed players like Grixer to make decisions off the back of it. We go back up to this top floor for what will be the final round of regulation with OXG on the defense. It's a round where we've seen mixed success for both teams so far. Cloud9 giving us a very convincing showing in round 1, but since round 2 have struggled to really get anything going on this attack. His army obviously a key part of that, and that has been banned out now, so Rafters control is far more viable. And that looks like where Dream is at least going to make his stand for the early portion. Quickly getting in and getting that Rafters control, not allowing anyone to rotate out, and Selma's used to open the breach. Well, it's a brilliant strategy. Now you have control of Rafters, you can start to work and pinch these defenders around inside of the site.
They have Raptors, they have IT, but I always want to see something more for a push like this, whether it's somebody going towards Aqua or going towards Connector. There's not a great spot to plant if you're just kind of coming from this one side of the map. Kobe down below might be able to provide that extra dimension. We'll have to see how it goes. Impact's tossed out towards Dream, but he's still got most of his HP, so he shouldn't be too worried about it. Close range shotgun from Atom might provide a huge issue too. He's not got it in his hands just yet, but if they do want to push in through IT, he'll be really the main threat that stops them. Dream looking to rotate Aqua, so that would be that dimension that I was talking about to get a second player in and maybe a bit of a better plant position too, especially with that Blackbeard. Break into control, get yourself behind the bomb chassis. Certainly a good place to put a defuse kit down. Plenty of options still to play with for Cloud9, but no Kobe Lax as Forest finds him below.
Brilliant lurk there from Forest, just dealing with Kobe Lax. there's been almost zero value out of the book considering the map control that Cloud9 have at the moment. Gitty grabs a kill onto Grixer, and Dream can now mount his attack, pushing deep in through Electrical, but does need to be cautious, needs to wait for his team, and his team will deliver. 2 kills from Silent before being shut down by Gomez. Dream now thinking about trying to get that plant down, but we've got Forest on the flank. He's going to work his way in through Electrical right now, and this is a 1 versus 2, especially with Dream trying to plant. Silent taken out, Dream forced off, and Gomez to clean up. Multi-kills galore for the side of OXG tonight. Gomez putting in an incredible shift.
Really big round from Gomez, as you said, steps up massively in that one for the last couple of kills, especially gets the final one to put himself on double digits. I actually thought it was a great call from Cloud9. The second Kobilax dies inside of Cargo, right? Kind of the bottom of Aqua Stairs. Cloud9 recognized that the only person who could be down below, who could have gone for a play like that, is the one guy who's playing meeting side or connector side, right? So they recognized that that player, Forrest, must have gone down the lobby stairs. Well, he's not going to be watching Electrical anymore. So they jump in Electrical. They get all the space for free. Dream seemingly gets everything opened up. They combine with Silent behind Dream and then Giddy inside of IT too. It looks like a great opportunity for a push. But Gomez just somewhat forgotten about at the back of the bomb site with that DMR rocking the Aruni. You can ban out his Azami, but it doesn't matter. He still finds the frags that he needs. Really well played to come through from him, and that does give Oxygen the 4-2 lead. Cloud9, the best attacking team in the league, have only managed 2 rounds on their strongest side, and now we'll have to go to defense where they actually don't even have a positive win rate so far.
It's a shame because you can see the vision in the attack, and Cloud9 are so quick to adapt during the round. And that's somewhere that we can really credit them. You know, Dream was here, there, and everywhere, took control of Rafters, rotated over towards Aqua, burnt a few smoke canisters, then he's out and all the way around toward Connector. You know, he's absolutely all over the place and providing pressure every which way. But sometimes it is just not enough, especially when you've got some really stalwart players in on the site, and Gomez was one of those on those defensive rounds for OXG.
10 seconds left.
Round 7, Cloud9, down by 2 rounds, and we're hiding a Cav. Gitty, you better have something incredible for us right now, because there is just about every other operator in the game I would rather see you playing at the minute, aside from Caveira.
Listen, Giddy's been having a crazy couple of weeks, so if he's going to go crazy on Cav, then I am all here for it. We've had a ridiculous game. 5 rounds ago, we got our first Rook of the stage. Now we'll see our first Cav of the stage. So we're breaking records left and right. New operators coming out all over the place in this game. Keep on watching. It seems like a Thunderbird might be next. We'll have to wait and see. But he's ratting in the basement for now. And I'm not sure if this is going to be a huge play or not, because I don't see an operator in auction that is likely to go down below. Usually on this bomb site, you'll see a demo, so you'll see a buck, and they'll be kind of solo down on that main floor trying to work some vert angles. Nobody on OXG really looks like they're going to be in a position to go for something like that. Maybe Forest, but I don't really expect to see it happen. So then you start thinking, well, maybe Giddy can flank Meeting Hall, maybe he can flank up Aqua and get a backstab when the push is happening. But at the same time, you're going against Adam on the Nomad. So if you do go for a big flank, there's a high chance that it will just get air jabbed off and you end up getting caught without even a drone being there. So yeah, not a great round for Giddy to be on this Cav. We'll see what he can do with it.
I hope he's got something genius cooked up. At the moment, control of Catwalk has disappeared. Kind of in that no man's land at the moment where we're sort of waiting for OXG to move in and take it. Cloud9 don't really have a good foothold in there at the moment. There's a super narrow angle being challenged here, and Kobilax does need to be cautious. Gomez, he can start to work his way up to this breach and just have a peek in, see if there's anything that you can find for free. He takes nearly all of Hat's HP, leaves him on only 1. If there was a time to strike, Gitty, we're getting into that danger zone now. We need to see what this effect is going to be, because at the moment, your team is a little bit light on the site. I'm not sure if OXG have entirely recognized what is in front of them right now. Got some bees just keeping Gomez safe, stopping him from getting immediately swung for the time being. But he's hungry for a kill here. You can feel it. That's such a good spree on the defense and looking for more. This is Gitty's time. Maybe waits for that silent step to recharge, can start to move his way through. Gomez should be a free kill right now. Nobody is expecting this. Can he land the shots required? Certainly for the down and for the confirm. Oh no, the unforgivable. Atom takes Forest down, and Grix has started to join in on the action. Gitty, he's managed to get himself all the way up, but eventually will be taken down as 2 huge kills swing the tide of this round. But Atom and Grixer are both super low. 12 seconds, they've got the diffuser. Atom finds one onto Silent. That's a really important kill. It's now down to Dream. He's got 5 seconds. There's no diffuser in Atom's hand. He's just got to keep himself alive. Swings at the shotgun with close range inside of Electrical. A really close end to the first round of Cloud9's defenses.
And what a big clutch from the captain of Cloud9, Dream. He goes big in the 1v1 to make sure it does get locked down. It's a bit of a crazy strategy on the defensive side. I'm not so sure about the Cav, but listen, it does its job. It gets the 1-for-1. It causes chaos. Debatably causes the team kill too, because it was just inside of IT where Adam shoots the head of Forest, and I think he's shooting towards Giddy, getting kind of panicked in that moment. So that really does start things off strong for Cloud9. Dream in the late round, able to lock things down. I thought played that 1v1 perfectly, running back inside of Electrical. That's exactly what you need to do. Don't forget, Dream up against his former team. He played on OXG for 814 days. Not once in that span was he the captain, was he ever the IGL, but now he moves to a new team, takes over the captain role in this offseason, just moving into stage 2. I think he's really been able to silence a lot of doubters over the last couple of weeks because people were not a huge fan of the roster move, not a huge fan of putting Dream on captain, but
5 seconds left.
I think we're seeing them. I mean, Cloud9 do look like a very strong team, and they've got the capability to battle against even the best in North America.
I think they've just got some really good fundamentals. And I think they're at a stage of understanding the game very well at the moment as well, which it sounds like a really strange thing to say, but you do get some teams that kind of just get caught in a cycle. And then you get other teams that look like they're understanding the game exceptionally well. SR, great example. Stage 1, they understood the game better than anybody else. And it just goes to show that that understanding and that knowledge doesn't really last forever. Yoga, do you understand that you are in the site and now down? Dream also out of action. Gomez can pick his teammate up here with an adrenal stim, and I think he might have seen something over toward that hatch. Yes, it was. It was Kobe likes dropping. This early aggression, immediately getting into sight. I still can't really tell who it favors. Yoga's actually up now because the adrenal stim from Gomez got him back up. Pat and Gitty both fall right now. This has been a blink and you miss it round. I've never seen a round of Siege like it, Jesse.
It's a classic Russian, I suppose, just through the cargo window, down the steps, and straight into sight. They were in with about 2 minutes and 40 seconds still on the clock. Maybe some good droning in the early games. Understand that there was only one player in the basement. Dream was the last guy alive down in the bottom floor, and nobody was really playing around those cargo stairs. We had 2 players on the top floor. You had Hat inside of cafeteria, and then Giddy was over towards storage. So both of those mid-floor roamers, it's supposed to be one covers cargo stairs, one covers the vending stairs, but they were both kind of vending side, and that meant there was a gap that OXG spotted. They went for it. They got deep in towards the site. You saw some good coverage from outside the building too. Grixer in particular, playing outside of storage. I believe he was the one to get the down on the Kobe Lax as he dropped in through the Animus hatch. So that gave the numbers advantage over to OXG. And then just a scramble trying to get back into sight that was not successful. Grixer, a couple of pistol kills that ended it out. Beautifully done by Oxygen. And, well, we talked about Cloud9's attacking prowess, but that's probably the cleanest take that we've seen all day.
OXG have a habit of that, don't they? They've always got a little rush around in them, and it just depends on when it's going to come out. They are a team that is more than happy to move quickly, and also very good at moving quickly. Like, there's teams that can be happy to move quick and can be pretty crap at it. OXG aren't one of those teams. Their rush rounds are often very well calculated. I think that came at just a beautiful point in the game. Cloud9 feeling like, oh, we're only 1 round behind now, getting a little bit of momentum, picking up a round win. And then nope, OXG just snatch it right back in the space of 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And we're left again with them with a 2-round lead at the moment. Only a couple of rounds away from guaranteeing themselves the win. 1 round away from guaranteeing some points here. I like the lineup as well. You don't see enough Brava, but I think we've seen more Brava today than we have done, it feels like, the whole stage long.
Yeah, being piloted by Gomez in this round, who's really been popping off 11-5. Foxay maybe drying his tears a little bit. Hat 6-1 at one point, now down to 7-5. Has not really been able to find much value in the last 4 or 5 rounds. Could be a big opportunity for him to pop off and start to make a difference again for Cloud9. Back when he was fragging, that's when they were winning, so they need a little bit more out of him. I'm afraid it might be just another rush.
Oxygen looking like they're willing to move quickly yet again here. Grixer just fully, thoroughly checking everywhere in storage, but wasn't able to keep his teammate in Forest alive. Can he land the shot? Warden just ducking up from behind the desk. Dream with 1. Is he good for a second? It looks like he might be. This rush has been snubbed out pretty quickly, and it's just turned into a scrappy round of siege as Grixer starts to think about getting that plant down. Oh, air jab's going off upstairs. Silent, great kill over onto Atom right now, but both him and Hat are super low, and Grixer can try and get this plant down, but no! Oh, it's not a trade, it's a down trade, but it's still gonna have the same level of impact. There's a minute left on the clock. Yoga, he can rush in, confirm the kill. That gives the game away. Now Silent knows exactly where he needs to be looking. Great shot through the floor. Those aren't easy angles to hit, but he domes him in the head.
And that was a beautiful shot to hit. You said it. I mean, what a kill coming through. It was a massive HP advantage for Yaga. He was effectively full health. Silent was on just a sliver, but he had the positioning. He had the vert control. It wasn't really fought for from Oxygen. They tried to go back-to-back with those fast rounds, get into sight within the first minute. They were certainly successful in doing so, but it wasn't as quick to convert right into the plant. Grixer took a bit of time to start planting. I think got a little bit nervous up above too. He definitely could have finished that plant because Adam was covering with the air jabs up above, but because he hesitated, because he pulled off that plant, all of a sudden, Adam loses the gunfight, this one right here, and things get really scary for the team. That trade could have made all the difference, but thankfully Hat has a massive kill to be able to stop that one plant player, the one player in sight, from doing anything too devastating. Ask and he shall receive in terms of a big round from Hat. Only a single kill, but I think a very impactful one. Nothing quite as nice as what we saw out of Silent. The full team effort from Cloud9 to repel the second rush. And they will ban out the Dokkaebi. They don't want any more of these fast round shenanigans.
We don't want anything to do with it, do they? Dokkaebi gone. I'll be honest, I don't want to say disappointed in OXG, but I'd kind of credited them for those rushes being very well calculated, very well thought through. And that last one, yeah, it was fine until it wasn't, and then it went really south. They just didn't have enough information. If they'd have got the kill onto Dream straight away, it would have been a different story. But they didn't, and that was really where the round started to just unravel for me. And now they've given, they've left the door open again for Cloud9. Only one round in it again. And when they're really desperate to try and guarantee some points out of this one, it does just feel like a little bit of an oversight. There's still time. We move back up to this top floor. Forest. Tin openers open that IT breach. That's going to free Grixer and those Selmas up for elsewhere. That's likely going to be in toward that connector area and take a little bit of control around electrical. But I'm looking at the lineup, Jesse, and I'm kind of wondering, I'm left wondering what's going to be dealing with this clash. Are we going to be relying on the Capital Firebolts to get the job done? It doesn't look like it's going to be, that straightforward to just get someone in and start to flame them off and then Dream have just nowhere to run.
Yeah. I mean, you can go back to round one, and it was the air jab from Giddy that triggered whilst the Clash was picking up her shield that destroyed the shield in the middle of the round. We could see something crazy like that again, or you could be the Capitao instead. A couple different answers that they have to try to work around this. The key is going to be multiple dimensions on this push. You cannot just push from one direction up against the Clash, and I actually know this. Starting to open up around connector now. I think this is going to be the secondary goal after they've opened up IT and taken that control. Players around Aqua as well, though, so still plenty of options for where they want to bring this push. No one player has really been popping off for Cloud9. 3 of their players currently sitting with a 6-7 stat line. Who's going to be the hero for round 10 to stop this push in its tracks? Yet to be seen.
6-7 the same as 6-7.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what you were going for?
Yeah, it was, but it's great when you, yeah.
Because I'll say it. Forest, opening pick onto Hat. Highlighted him a few times. And the struggle is starting to show through. That's an opening pick that will go without response for the time being. And we do still have to get that connector wall open, so the pace definitely slower from OXG. Cloud9, their work rate, I think, in the early portion of the round was a lot higher. But it might not even matter. Gomez takes Kobilax out. Dream will be there for the refrag, but with Silent falling as well. Again, it's just a round that's going to end in the blink of an eye. We don't even have time for the full Selma to detonate before everybody's dead.
Yeah, the 5v4 execute looking really strong. The time might not be massive, but it's just a couple of picks early in that round, specifically onto Hat, who's jumping out of electrical, that I think starts to get them that little bit of confidence going. It's Gomez who finds the second frag, then onto Kobe, who's just playing top of Rafters. Now you know you've killed one inside of electrical, you know you've killed one inside of Rafters. That kind of opens the door for that space to be taken. Dream was playing behind his shield after setting it down just at the top of Rafters as well, and despite getting one for his troubles, was traded out. There's a team kill in the midst of that too. It's hard to catch, but eventually we saw Yaga burning his teammate alive with a Capitao Firebolt. Not the greatest way for Forest to go out, but in the end, no hard feelings, I'm sure, as match point is going to be more than worth it. We look at attack timeout in the midst of this. Desperate times for Cloud9 up against Oxygen. Getting their 6th round, it's also important to mention, OXG have locked in top 2 for the North America League, and so they will be receiving a bye through the first round of playoffs. M80 locked that in earlier on today, and now Oxygen will be the second. So for every other team, they are still playing for one of those playoff spots, but they will have to play in the first round. They'll have to have that chance to go down to the lower bracket early.
I think teams have very different ideologies about that as well. Some teams like playing more games, other teams like to just advance straight through and buy that first round. But at least for OXG and M80, it is another couple of games less to prep. It's a little bit more time to watch your opponents and to get yourself in the right headspace to deal with the tournament. So good position that they find themselves in, and credit to them after a wonderful stage. With Cloud9, that does not matter at all. They are still hungry for points here inside of this game. And they're actually going to use their tactical timeout just ahead of OXG with their opportunity to lock the game up. Maybe would have liked to have seen it a couple of rounds ago, but with the sort of rushy nature and the way that these rounds have been a little bit back and forth, I think you can kind of excuse Cloud9 for choosing now to play that. But what's the play going to be? Because they're sort of left wondering a little bit at the moment. Are OXG going to play quick? Are they going to play slow? Last round we had, 30 seconds left and we were Selma an open connector wall. Like, that should have been done ages ago, but OXG still win the round. Other rounds, we've got players in the site in the first 45 seconds, so you're really left wondering what you're going to get with this OXG side right now. I would hope, and it looks like with this lineup, that it's going to be a slightly slower affair this time from OXG, and that they're going to try... Ooh, is he going to be able to sneak past? Oh, genius. We love that from Yaga. Sloppy Mozzie placement. There's no excuse for it.
And he tells his teammates too, they get a second drone in there right past the pest as well. So plenty of information that could have been grabbed by the defenders. Not so. Yaga doesn't shoot it. Instead wants the free walk in. Not being given that information, he stays silent as he enters the top floor and finds Kobilax. Just 4 kills separate now Oxygen from the victory. Cloud9 desperate for points in 8th place at the moment. They cannot afford to go out without at least an overtime, but that does seem to be where we're looking. Somebody has to step up and make a play.
Silent, he's going to take a couple of shots of damage as he tries to rotate down cargo stairs. As I think about peeking out and playing a little bit more aggressively there, but he's kind of left with no option but to try and force his way back toward the site. Vertical control now in full control of OXG as Grixer can start to manipulate these vert angles inside of IT. Yaga, going to be the next player to find success for OXG as Gitty. He's not going to be allowed back to the site either. So Hat, Silent, and Dream, they have a lot of heavy lifting to do. Grixer going to be still moving through that top floor. Gomez, Deathmark trackers sent out there as well. Hat is now the time to be going for a rotate up Aqua. And he kind of gives the game away there, shooting the flank drone. His chances of getting back down to site at the moment are fairly slim to none. He needs impact, and he needs it here. 2 kills at a minimum to alleviate at least some of the pressure. And you can see the net is slowly starting to tighten on him. As OXG know that somebody's there, gets the glimpse, gets the shoulder peek, but he should be pinched right now. Players can start to hop on through as well, but immediately dealt with as Atom there just takes the initiative and wins the gunfight. It furthers this downtrodden position that C9 find themselves in. Oh, a beautiful kill from Gomez through the floor onto Silent, and it's all down to the captain, but it's going to be a flawless to finish here for OXG. They tie a beautiful bow on what has been a fantastic stage so far.
They make it look so easy in some of these rounds, Ollie. It's honestly incredible. Oxygen Esports playing fantastic Siege. They'll be looking red hot heading into playoffs in a couple of weeks' time. Looking very, very comfortable, very confident. Cloud9 in a dangerous position. They will have a do-or-die game up against Wildcard early tomorrow. Even then, it may not matter if we get some good games from other teams. We're not the ones to break that down, though. I'm sure the desk will have all the implications and an interview with Oxygen, so make sure you stick around for that right after this break.
No depth, no depth, no depth.
Toilet.
Nice!
Alright,
Nice, guys.
Go.
Good fucking win, y'all. Let's good
Okay,
comeback,
here,
guys.
bro.
Great fucking comeback.
Come on.
Yes, good win indeed from OXG, making sure that both our analysts' predictions are correct, but also just the fact that this team has not slowed down since they've actually just caught the win. I don't know what's going on here with OXG. Everything's going well. We've had a lot of interviews with every single one of their players, and we have Gomez this time around as well for a bit more insights. But again, first off, congratulations. You guys just keep on winning. Do you feel like with playoffs coming around, you only have one best of one left, that you can maybe like take your foot off the gas a little bit, relax more, look more forward towards preparing for those best of series?
Thank you, I appreciate it about the wins. And for the foot off the gas, I think we cannot know, because we do know that these B1s are kind of meaningless. What actually matters is the playoffs. So I think that's some mistakes that teams do. They do good in the B1s, and then eventually they struggle in the playoffs. So we are not going to aim to do that now.
True, yeah. Well, but with that win, you guys get top 2, and obviously your performance throughout the stage has been exemplary, and we've seen it progress, not just you, but the team as well. You guys have gotten better and better with each stage. How has that felt from your perspective on the entry now that everything's clicking from, week 1 to now? You and the rest of the team have improved immensely, but how has that felt for you on the entry?
I mean, it felt great. I think I've just been playing with a lot of confidence, and I think the individual performance, it just comes a lot with like the team environment, the strats, and just like there's a bunch of other factors that come with it. And I think we're just in a great momentum right now, and yeah, it helps me play better. My teammates just help me play better.
Well, congratulations, Gomez, on locking top 2. Last stage, you guys just squeaked into playoffs. Now this one, you took it very convincing to be in top 2. I want to just talk about, in terms of the mentality and just kind of everyone vibing with one another. How has that been from stage 1 to stage 2 in terms of just like the overall dynamic with everyone, the camaraderie, just everything as a whole?
I think for the dynamic, we've always had like really good vibes. I think the performance, it just comes with the identity thing. I think like we just learned new play styles, and we also got experience as a team. So I think that's why we're clicking so good. It's just the experience and like the team chem.
Does it remind you similar to like back when you were on XSET, just in terms of the vibes? Because all you guys were very close and always looked like you were having a fun time laughing with each other when we were back in Vegas. Does it kind of remind you similar to that?
Yes, I think now it's even worse because we literally have like 5 clowns. So like we just never have a bad day. Like we'll be losing, like we'll get clutched on and we just start laughing. So the vibes are just great at all times.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, the vibe checks passed once again. We heard the same thing as well yesterday in the interview. So it's good to know that everything's going really well over there on the UXG camp. You guys have Envy tomorrow. That's going to be your final game. How much are we looking forward to that?
We're excited. I mean, we need to win that game first to get top 4 in the overall standings. So we started the lower bracket in the Philly land. So we're really excited about that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the insight. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll see you around tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye. You guys must be so happy, so proud of OXG.
Well, it's definitely nice to see them finally succeeding, especially since they made this huge revamp of the team since the start of the year with getting Adam, Forrest, Grixer. And so obviously since that, stage 1 was obviously ups and downs, but they've been progressing so much ever since they got that roster, and that we can see it now. Now that they finally have everybody working on the team, the confidence is there, and I think that impacts the way they play, because now they'll be calling for strats, they'll be going for site hits in this matchup specifically, and it's amazing to watch because everything just starts working because they're just playing off of each other so well naturally that they're in the peak moment where you can just call anything and it'll work because the team is working so well together.
I mean, even that last round, I mean, again, it just speaks into how well they're playing. It was just so slow and methodical. They were finding the Cloud9 roamers, just singling them out, doubling up on them, and then coming down to that end goal to just collapse onto the site in the very end. Not even needing to go for a plant, just being able to act like just right here. Beautiful Deimos through the floor, and then just be able to collapse on this player without even having to go for that defuse. I mean, again, Oxygen, like you said, they caught something in the wind. Clearly the change in the IGL role, clearly the change in just the overall dynamic of their attacking strats. I mean, they look very clean and concise in terms of what they want. And yeah, I mean, being an Oxygen alumni, seeing so many hurdles of that organization go through with roster after roster after roster to now finally land with this group of guys, and that they're making the organization look good, they're making the players themselves look really good, and questioning, why did these players even get replaced to begin with? Because they're clearly making it work here, and they're making very good stride at, a very solid stage here, and then to push that into playoffs.
Yeah, everything seems to have come together for OXG, which is really great to see, but I would really like to start having a conversation about the day as a whole, because at the end of the day, it's literally tomorrow is going to be the last day of Super Week, and still every single match is just as important because it's going to impact the standings. But from today, we start off with a 7-0 because at this point, that's the NAL Classic. There has to be one 7-0 a day to keep it afloat. SSG, SR was probably the biggest upset that I've seen today, but other than that, it's been pretty all right.
Yeah, I think it was pretty straightforward throughout the whole day. Obviously, I think Cloud9 OXG was probably the best game of the day, in my opinion. SSG Shopify Rebellion, I didn't think it would be as one-sided as it was. And obviously, I mean, Standby, Cruelty, I wanted more from Cruelty out of that one. And, highlight for me today. Hat had a great game. He went positive today. First positive of the stage. So
Eat your words.
Yeah, big W. I mean, only took 8 games. So obviously I'm proud of him for turning up, and yeah, the rest of Cloud9 did a great job today too.
Yeah, standings as well in regards to where we are currently sitting at are going to be really important because M80, of course, are already sitting at the top pretty, but with all the changes that have happened today, all the wins, all the losses, that's also going to be impacted. And I think the fact that we're heading into tomorrow with no real idea of who the other 4 are going to be is insane, but also just what do you mean? The difference between first place and third place is like 7 points. That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, it puts everyone into a position where Dark Zero, if they want to solidify themselves, Envy and Dark Zero have to get a win. If not, they'll be able to get leapfrogged over by Wildcard and Cloud9 if they win. And so, obviously, it depends so much on the matchups that are coming up for tomorrow because, the 5th, 6th spot, everything is subject to change.
Yeah, there's still a lot of importance to be had here, but I mean, it's that fight to just stay in top 6. I mean, I think it's definitely more of a fight than what it was last stage, whereas these are a lot of top teams that were in last stage still fighting to stay in the fight to make it into playoffs. I mean, it should be a really good day going into tomorrow.
To me, that then brings the question is, did we get more competitive because every single one of the teams has just improved a lot, or did it get more competitive because the teams that were at the top had a little bit of a stinker?
I think every team improved, and I think it makes everything closer since Cruelty and LFO were also freebies, so it makes every single team get points, and everything's a lot closer. And usually when a team's at the bottom, they'll at least get some wins on some of the top teams in the top 6, and that's what causes the rift. But they weren't able to.
Yeah, and with that, we're also going to look at the Blacklight detail for today, which is going to be going to the round-winning round from Ashen for SSG against
this
SR.
Was amazing positioning from him, obviously. The drone misstep, I mean, we see Blitz run through, he gets the first kill. Then he just plays time. He plays life off of his teammate dies. Great intuition off that shot, the second kill that he gets. Beautiful read to be able to isolate the 1v1s. He knows that if he plays time here, he will get overcome by the amount of people there. So he goes for that easy pick, he gets connector, and now the round's already won before he gets that last kill because you have no idea where he's going to be. He could have dropped the hatch, could have went back to site, could have went back into cash, and he goes for the aggressive fight off of the sound cue. Beautifully played from Ashen.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at tomorrow as well, because of course that's the final day that we have here in Super Week. And again, the schedule for tomorrow is going to determine whether or not some of these teams are going to be able to make it into the playoffs, because top 6, well, top 4 at least, is still very much on the table. Starting things off with DZ LFO, I mean, this is a little bit of a no-brainer. At least you'd hope so. Same thing for Shopify Cruelty. But everything else, maybe M80, SSG. SSG has a chance to dethrone the Kings.
Well, not dethrone them, but definitely take them off their streak, to say the least. But, I mean, I also looking at M80 to kind of gatekeep in some senses. But, I mean, the first game, unless Cruelty does something crazy, which it still can happen. I mean, they did it to M80 last stage. They could easily do, I mean, sorry, not Cruelty, Standby. Standby could stop Dark Zero from being able to make it by getting a big win there, depending how the rest of those games follow after. Could be insane tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, because obviously we have that game that could happen. You would assume Dark Zero would win, so they'd take a position into top 6. Cloud9 plays wildcard. They're playing each other for a spot in the top 6, so one of those teams will not make it into the top 6 depending on who wins. Envy is playing against OXG for a chance to be into top 6 again. If Envy does not win, they would probably I believe they would 100% get knocked out. So obviously, so many implications of matches, and at the end of the day, it's going to wrap it up with M80 versus SSG to see if M80 goes undefeated.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you want to know which one of our teams is going to be in the top 6 and goes to playoffs, not the week next week, but the week after that, then you're just going to have to tune in tomorrow, because we're going to be back at the same time, same place, with 5 best of ones to send our teams into playoffs. Make sure you tune in to them, and bye.